Welcome to the Avatar program. Soon, you're going to have a chance to undertake an amazing Na'vi rite of passage, flying on the back of this powerful animal called an Ikron, or, as we call it, a podcast.
There are thousands of Disney podcasts on the internet, and this is one of them. I'm Jake.
I'm Josh.
I'm Jordan.
And you're listening to...
Mutineers! And tonight, after 2 weeks of closure, give or take a year, Disneyland has reopened. Disney Wish has been unveiled, not to be confused with Disney Wishes, Wish Upon a Star, or Make-A-Wish Foundation. Main topic, full disclosure of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Wait, did I put disclosure?
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't read.
First of all...
It totally says discussion, but mine sounded way better.
I mean, it wasn't wrong. That's the thing.
No. I just saw the D and filled it in with another D.
You saw the D. All right.
First of all, I want to say, Josh, thank you. That's probably the best intro notes I've ever written, and you pulled it off, so...
They were okay.
No, I said the best I've ever written.
Yeah, and I'm just letting you know they were okay.
Yeah, but the bar is really low, Josh.
Yeah, and you just lowered it.
No, I kind of squeaked under it. No, I stepped over it. I don't know what I did. It was a good intro. Guys, before we get into anything, I have fantastic news. Ready?
Yeah? Is it about Dogecoin?
No.
Oh.
I am sick.
Of this podcast?
No. I love this podcast. You guys are my favorite people in the world, Jordan. But...
that's fucked up.
I have a sore throat. I have a cough. And you know why this is fantastic news? I know exactly what it's not.
Is it allergies?
And I'm sure it's 100% allergies. It's either that or a minor cold. I don't know. But it makes me happy.
Well,
like I said... What?
I was trying to make a mine worker joke, but miners are... It would have been not funny.
Good. But had this happened, I don't know, 3 to 4 weeks ago, I would have been terrified right now. But I'm feeling good. I'm sick.
My sinuses are fucking clear right now. Drinking
mine are too.
What did you guys do over the weekend?
Oh, dude. So Sunday morning, I gotta tell you before I tell you what we did. Sunday morning, I woke up, stumbled
Sunday
downstairs.
Morning happened after what happened? Did you,
Yeah, so Sunday morning, I woke up, stumbled downstairs, got me a big glass of water, had a cup of coffee.
Cup of ambition.
Stumbled back upstairs, looked at myself in the mirror, and said, "Oh, I need to brush my beard." So I brushed my beard, and the brush got caught, like hard caught. And dude, I just pulled out a glob of barbecue sauce, probably the size of a dime.
Well, it'd be great if we knew the first part of the story.
No, it just makes it worth it to you guys. Fuck everyone else.
All right, okay. First of all, oh man, I forgot the director's name. Who did, I forgot the movie name. Shit.
Pulp Fiction?
No.
Or Nothing's in Order?
Yeah, but the other guy that does that.
Christopher Nolan?
Yes, the one. All right, Christopher Nolan.
It would have been funny if you remember the first time.
Ryan just screamed at you through the other end of his podcast machine.
Well, I'm sorry, Ryan. I'm sick. I'm just going to use that as an excuse.
It's my first day.
I mean, I'm completely of sound mind, but if I mess up this episode, I'm just going to say it's because I'm sick. I'm so
No,
overdosed on cough drops.
Saturday night, Jordan came over and we made
Sweet love.
chicken nuggies and dinosaur nuggies and French fries and tater tots and beignets and had barbecue sauce and hot sauce.
Hold on, Josh, did you give Jordan hot sauce?
I was not going to give him some. He said throw some on my plate, and so I did.
Yeah, I went for it.
Jordan.
Listen, I'm not proud of myself. And to be honest with you, it actually wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. It definitely wasn't as bad as the one chip challenge looked.
Oh, dude, that was bad. I'm still going to do that again next year.
But you also had that beer from Monday Night Brewing that it was a sour. I can't remember what it was called, but it
you took a picture
like
of
how
it.
the Polynesian smells. I did take a picture of it. I guess I took my phone.
Wait, did you just say it tastes how the Polynesian smells?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was like a lemongrass something sour, and it wasn't overly sour.
Yeah, it's called Hopeful Wisdom, and it's a golden sour ale with orange peel and lemongrass.
Yeah, from Monday Night Brewing. It was good. It was really good. Like, seriously, good.
Man, if only you guys would have got this on video and we could throw up an episode of Hot Sauce Heathen.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting there.
What was it? Hopeful something?
Which is hopeful wisdom.
I was expecting so much more enthusiasm about that, and then it didn't happen. Listener, they did get it on video, and there will be a new episode of Hot Sauce Heathen coming up.
Yay!
No, not you. The other listener. We have 2 viewers right now. Who are you? Show yourselves, Jillian. It's getting very predictable in here. Guys, we have a lot of show to get through today, so can we just... Okay. Is this a good time to talk some Disney?
Yeah, we might as well.
Okay, let's do this.
All right.
Guys, did you hear about this? Disneyland is open. Like that, there's nothing more to say about that. Just Disneyland is open.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And how is it?
It looks good.
Good.
Like 400 and something days, it was closed. Like just for like literally over a year, almost a year and 2 months. Disneyland was closed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the prior record to that was what, 3 days?
I mean, this is.
Right?
I thought that was Disney World.
I thought Disneyland's record was 3 days, right after 9/11.
Oh.
Disney World, there was a hurricane last year before. No, Irma. And Disney World was closed for 3 days during Irma.
So, technically, this is the second longest that Disneyland has not been open. Because prior to this, it was not open for like 6 billion years or something, however old the universe is.
I feel like this is a weird technicality.
You know, up from the Big Bang to 1955, Disneyland was not open. And then again from last March to last Friday.
Yeah. So, good job, Disneyland.
Yeah, and so they're operating at 25% capacity. When I was at Disney World, it was 35%. And
it was probably freaking amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was watching TikTok videos and live streams over the weekend, and it's just like 25% capacity at Disneyland looks amazing. And,
well, yeah, and like Disneyland is like fucking tiny, so that's not very many people.
Yeah, like 10-minute wait on Space Mountain.
Jesus, really?
Yeah. And the cool part was, this made me really happy. On Friday, the day that it opened, like, Bob Iger was just out there amongst the crowds taking pictures like a tourist. Who's this?
Didn't that turned into a meme pretty quickly?
Did it?
On Twitter, yeah. So the picture of Bob Iger holding his phone
That's
up.
The one.
Yeah, it was 2 pictures. So they would post that picture of Bob Iger, and then the next picture would just be representative of whatever he was taking a picture of. And some of them were actually really, really.
I missed all of that, and now I need to go back and look. And then, who's the super dreamy guy that's the head of Parks and Resorts now?
Josh Damaro.
Yeah, he was out there mingling with people. Seems like a cool dude.
Well, speaking of Josh, I got to keep my name. Apparently, if you didn't go to the Josh fight, you got to keep your name.
I didn't vote for you.
I didn't know we were voting.
I didn't know a vote was a fight.
Well, it wasn't until this last year.
Anyway, so yeah, Disneyland open. That's all I got. Looked really cool, and you can only go if you live in California, so that's neat.
I'll live vicariously through Californians for the time being.
As you've always done with Disneyland.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
Next up in Disney news, during a time when there are no cruises going out at all from this country, Disney decided to announce their newest cruise ship, the Disney Wish. And it looks great.
Yeah, Chelsea told me about it. I guess she woke up and watched the entire 35-minute video on her phone while she was still in bed. She was texting me snapshots of the video. And I watched the video. Well, I take it back. I had the video playing. I didn't pay attention to it as much as I probably should have. But I did catch a handful of interesting information about the Disney Wish. But it's still being constructed. It's not even on the water yet. So it's getting, I think they said that you can book your cruise starting in May, but it's not ready to set sail until June of next year.
Yeah.
So nice.
And some of the things of note on it, because I kind of breezed through the video too. It was a busy weekend between Disneyland and the Disney Wish, and I kind of favored Disneyland in most of my perusings. But on the Disney Wish, in the kids areas, they have like simulator rides, like they used to have at Disney Quest. I mean, they're not exactly the same, but they look smaller. Like
build your own roller coaster?
No, like sit in this and you're gonna ride Big Thunder Mountain. Like ride our roller coaster.
What? Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's
that'd be badass.
That's what it was in the concept art. How the final product will be, I have no idea. But yeah, the kids get simulator rides on the cruise ship, so that's neat.
Stuck on Small World the entire freaking cruise.
Yeah, it's the happiest cruise that ever sailed, so why are you complaining?
Kids come back just...
No. And then another part that was cool was so that they have the water slide roller coaster thing going around the top deck again, just like the aqueduct on the other ships. But this one has show scenes.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it has a loop.
I mean, it might. Now, when I say show scenes, I looked into this because I was like, what? What? It's screens, but it's like the Mickey Mouse from the current Mickey Mouse shorts. And as you're going up the lift hill, there's stuff going on around you on screens with Mickey Mouse and stuff. It looks really neat.
Badass. So what I want to know is, do they have a baby Groot walking around?
Not yet, but possibly soon.
Because that thing is like creepily badass.
And like I saw Jordan, did you see the Baby Groot animatronic?
Yes, I have seen the Baby Groot animatronic, and that thing looks really, really cool.
Like
that. By the way, hold on. Let me go back one. That water slide was called Aqua Mouse.
Yes.
By the way.
Nice. So we're getting closer to the point where you ride Pirates of the Caribbean, and the pirates kill you.
Wait. This is the plot of another theme park-based movie that I've seen.
Huh. What's the name of it? I can't remember.
The Captain Phillips, the ride.
Wait, what did you just say?
Captain Phillips, the ride.
Oh.
He was almost killed by pirates, right?
It's dark, man. I like it.
Man, the ride? Can we go with that?
I
Liam
feel like
Neeson.
I feel like Captain Phillips might be a happier ride, but only if Tom Hanks is in it. That's the only way I'll accept it.
Isn't that the guy that Walt Disney played?
Yeah, and he was friends with Fred Rogers. So there's that. What the hell were we just talking about? Oh yeah, the Baby Groot animatronic. So we're like, Josh, I know me and you saw it, and Jordan, did you ever see Lucky the Dinosaur, the first walk around animatronic?
Oh yeah, I forgot about Lucky the Dinosaur, but he wasn't able to balance himself. That's why he was pulling a cart.
Right, and like all of his controls and systems were in the cart too.
Yeah.
So we've gone from Lucky the Dinosaur to just a Baby Groot that walks around and.
In fact, I don't think Lucky actually walked. I think the cart just rolled and his legs moved.
That is entirely possible.
Anyway, sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Anyway. That's all I had. And right after I wrote the notes for tonight, there was one more bit of news that came out today. And it was in our text thread, so I hope everybody saw it. Did you see the Marvel trailer?
Marvel trailer?
The one that's pretty much a trailer for the entirety of Phase 4?
Yes.
Yes.
That's in our text
I
thread?
did see it.
Didn't you send it? Who sent it? I thought Josh sent it.
Oh, I thought it was just a picture of the freaking Black Panther title. There it is. It's just a picture. What I sent was just a picture of the Black Panther title. Or Wakanda.
Oh no! Like there's like a whole 3-minute trailer about the entirety of Phase 4.
In the one I sent? No, it's just a picture. I'm clicking on it. It just
no, but
yeah, I'm not saying the one that you sent. I'm saying that there is a trailer for the entirety of Phase 4.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, sorry, I keep having to mute to cough. So
that's okay. We appreciate that.
Thanks. So in this trailer, you guys just touched on it. 2 of the Phase 4 movies got official titles, which up until this morning, they were called Captain Marvel 2 and Black Panther 2.
Mm-hmm.
But now, we got Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which, guys, let's just admit that movie's going to make us all cry. I just know it.
Dude, I'm pretty stoked about it. So apparently... I'm
already crying.
Killmonger, the guy that played Killmonger is back in it as Killmonger, so I'm wondering if it's like flashback scenes or if he survived or what.
Now you guys find out in a year.
Yeah, we watched him die. And then Ant-Man's got a name. Ant-Man Wasp Quantumania. Wait, it already
that one already had it. Yeah,
it just
already announced that a while ago.
Yeah.
And then the other one, Captain Marvel 2, is now called The Marvels.
Mm-hmm.
Which has me very excited because we got Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and whoever Monica Rambeau is.
She's 007. Thank you very much.
Well, not in this continuity.
And you know, I gotta say, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, that name really surprised me.
Why?
I wasn't expecting Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I mean, the second one was Volume 2, so the natural progression of things. Also, I kind of feel like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is technically the 4th Guardians of the Galaxy, because most of them are going to be in Thor, Love, and Thunder.
No, that's just going to be Guardians 2.5.
No,
as Guardians of the Galaxy.
And then at the very end of the trailer, I missed this the first time, and by reading internet comments, I had to go back and watch it. They technically announced Fantastic Four.
Yeah, did you not see the big 4 that was made?
Oh, I saw the big 4, but I was like, yay, Phase 4! And then I realized by reading the comments that was literally the Fantastic Four logo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an idiot. So, yeah. No more speculation. Fantastic Four is part of Phase 4. My guess is where it landed in the trailer. Now this is back to my speculation. That's going to be the last movie of Phase 4, and that's going to introduce, obviously, the Fantastic Four, and probably the big baddie for moving forward for whatever the next saga is.
Well, I know that what's his face? I don't know the guy's name, but I know he's the guy from Lovecraft Country. It was announced last year that he's signed on to be Kang, who's going to be one of the big baddies.
Oh, that's right. Forgot about that. That seems like forever ago.
But Kang also has ties to a lot of Avengers, Fantastic Four, like that whole side of Marvel. So it wouldn't surprise me if Kang showed up in multiple stories.
Yeah.
What about Galactus? Can he be the big baddie?
I mean, it would be ballsy to use Galactus again since they already used him in the really terrible Fantastic Four 2 movie.
I don't think it would be ballsy. I think it would be appropriate, but I don't know if he'll be the end all be all.
I'm still just mad at what they did to him. He's a cloud.
No, I mean it doesn't really matter with like those movies don't count anymore. So
they did have Chris Evans in them.
Right.
Eos? What's the planet in Guardians 2?
Ego?
Ego. Yeah. Gave birth to a U.S. agent.
What?
Yeah. No. Well, he didn't give birth, but he spawned him.
Are we talking?
His wife birthed him.
I don't. In what? The comic books?
Wyatt Russell is Kurt Russell's son. Kurt Russell's the character, or the guy that played Ego in the
movie. Okay. Josh, that was terrible. I ban you from talking for the next second. All right. Your punishment's over. How was it?
I'll probably do it again.
Okay. But I feel like that's a pretty... are we done with news? I got nothing else, but I really want to get into the main topic. And that felt like a fantastic segue.
I got this Boba Fett.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
It's not Old Man Fett, is it?
No, it's Return of the Jedi Fett. Man, now I just want a freaking redneck Boba Fett in overalls named Boba Fett.
Boba, no, I won't.
Got a piece of wheat hanging out of his helmet.
I got this Captain America.
Captain America.
Yeah, I do. Ooh. Which leads us into our main topic, guys. We promised it last week, and then Jordan was busy, and I didn't want to do this without Jordan. No, that's not calling you out, Jordan. This is why we waited for you. It's time to discuss the entirety of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier Disney Plus series.
All right, I'm in.
Good. I'm in too. So
when does season 2 come out? That's all I want to know.
I think season 2 is going to be Captain America 4.
This is correct.
Oh. Okay, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, well. There is going to be more, but okay, let's start from the beginning, guys. I loved it.
Yeah, it was
great.
Like
what? It was a great show.
Going into it, like when it was announced and everything, and just based off Sam and Bucky's relationship in Civil War, I thought I was going into like some sort of buddy cop kind of movie where they don't like each other. And then it went real deep, real fast on serious issues that I was not expecting. I'm not against it. I'm glad they did. We'll get into that. I feel like we need to save all the like important issues and things towards the end, and let's cover the things we liked and disliked about it up front. Okay, the things we like. There's not much I didn't dislike that I wasn't supposed to dislike.
I mean, I feel like if I had to pick anything about disliking is that I wish it would have been a little bit longer. Like I'm kind of mad that I only got 6 episodes.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree with that. But the thing is, I felt the same about WandaVision. I just, when it was all done, I wanted more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt the same about both of these. And like Falcon and Winter Soldier, each episode was almost an hour long. So we got like a 3-hour movie out of this thing.
Yeah.
But I could have still gone more. Wait, so, a 6-hour movie? For some reason. No, hold on. No, I need to explain myself. Hold on. When I said an hour long, my brain instantly reverted back to half hour. And so my brain was like, hey, yeah, we got 6 half-hour episodes. That's 3 hours. And I'm dumb. Anyway, so we got like a 6-hour movie and could have gone longer. That's all I'm trying to say.
I was definitely disappointed that Emphas Nest died.
Who?
The girl from Solo.
Kyrie Morgenthau.
The girl that plays the same character in everything I've seen her in. Good.
You've seen her in 2 things.
Yes, and she played the same character.
I was really hoping that she would have at least some redemption arc that would lead into the next series. But no, she's dead.
I had a feeling she was going to die. Like I heard her death was going to, I knew was going to trigger some kind of important series of events, and I think that you saw that at the end of the last episode.
She's totally gonna be made a martyr now.
Right. And well, I mean, that's also her death is where it's revealed that Sharon Carter is the power broker.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then you know, as we see at the end of the episode, she gets all of her charges dropped and forgiven, and is pretty much handed her job back, and then immediately is like, nope, double crossing America.
So while we're on that, let's speculate on that for a second. Do you think that's what's going to lead into Armor Wars?
I think Armor Wars.
Because like now she has all. That's the name of the show, right?
I have a feeling it might lead into Secret Wars.
Oh.
Or the Secret Invasion.
See, I was thinking. Oh, I didn't even think about that. I was thinking Armor Wars just because she has access to like the armor stuff. I'm very simplistic in my thinking.
So there was, there was some speculation on the internet that Sharon Carter might actually be a Skrull. And she, her character is posing as Sharon Carter.
That's a possibility.
So
I like that. So I thought that Elaine was the power broker the whole time.
Yeah, I think everybody kind of thought she was going to be the power broker. I have a feeling that she's probably working with the power broker.
Okay.
In some facet. I feel like we're jumping ahead of ourselves. Do you want to take this episode through episode?
I've got ADD, so.
Yeah, no. Well, let's. Because here's how it stands in my mind. Like, I feel like the first 3 episodes we could talk about as one, because that was kind of the setup.
Okay.
And then it was episode 4 where shit went down.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
So, like, episode 1 through 3, like, we're making ties to the characters. We get at the end of episode 1, we get introduced to John Walker, the new Captain America. And right away, me and you guys and the rest of the world, something's off about him in that first shot at the end of episode 1, right?
He looked like young Carl from Up, dressed as Captain America.
And I think that's something they did on purpose. I think that we weren't supposed to feel comfortable with him. And rightly so.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick. Not Carl.
He's kind of a dick.
Carl was kind of nice. But then
Carl was kind of a dick too.
Well, no, he got old and bitter.
Yeah, I'd still call it kind of a dick.
No, he eventually. No, never mind.
Anyway.
Fuck you, Jake.
Well, so there are some things that happened within the first couple of episodes that I thought were very interesting. And obviously, I'm thinking this way without having seen the rest of the series. And I think I even mentioned this on an episode before, where the show starts. It's 6 months after the events of Endgame. So everybody who has been gone for 5 years has been back for 6 months. And obviously things are still kind of chaotic. And
or fucked up.
Sam's family in Louisiana is kind of hurting, and they're going to sell, or his sister is going to sell their family shrimping boat, which is kind of like the whole part of like the big family business, and it's too important to give up, but they really don't have a choice. But Sam thinks that he can, I don't want to say I don't want to say the word weasel, but I feel like Sam is like, hey, I'm an Avenger. I've got Avengers clout with me. Somebody's not going to turn me down to give me a loan. So if we go in together, they'll see who I am, and we'll get a bank loan to fix the boat. And so there's a scene in the first episode where Sam and his sister go, and they talk to a banker, and the banker is like completely starstruck with Sam, and he's like, taking unsolicited selfies with. Didn't even ask Sam if he would you mind taking a picture with me or anything. Just kind of started going for it, and Sam's obviously okay, quote unquote, okay with it because he's about to ask for a big favor, and Sam's like, yeah, I'm an Avenger. Hey, picture, blah, blah, blah. Oh, hey, by the way, I need a bank loan. My sister and I need a bank loan. And then the banker just does this thing on the computer and said, well, you don't have any proof of income for 5 years. And so I can't give you a bank loan. And Sam's rebuttal was, well, yeah, I don't know if you've heard, but half the people in the world didn't exist for 5 years. So that's why I have no proof of income for 5 years.
Right.
And he's like, on top of that, like all the money I make are government contracts. And the guy was like, yeah, no, I can't do anything about it. And I thought to myself, like, in the context of the MCU, how fucked up is it that these governments, or at least this government, the American government, didn't have something put in place to help and aid all of these people who just suddenly started to re-exist?
Yeah.
And I thought that was such a weird thing because I can only imagine, like, just the countries, not even the countries, like probably even the world's economy just going ridiculously bonkers because of all these people that just started to re-exist. But I thought it was really weird that one, even if he wasn't an Avenger, he didn't, like, the bank was like, we can't do anything because you didn't exist for 5 years. So you're pretty much like effed in the A.
Right.
But even the fact that he was an Avenger and didn't exist for 5 years is kind of like a double whammy. And I thought to myself, you're telling me a guy who fought for the government to keep the world, literally the entire world, safe, can't get a measly loan for, I don't know, tens of thousands of dollars?
Yeah, like we weren't talking, it wasn't even a mortgage. It was exactly what you're saying.
Right.
Tens of thousands of dollars.
And it's like, this guy was on a team of people that literally should never have to, legally shouldn't have to work another day in their entire life.
Right.
Right.
Like, they didn't save the world, they saved the universe.
Right. And I thought that was such a weird thing. But I guess obviously you need some kind of drama so like whatever. But then they kind of touched on it in episode 3 with like the global repatriation program or whatever. But that was just a front to get the aristocracy more money and still screw over all of the poorer people, or the people
right.
like that, I guess poorer people for lack of a better phrase, but that money wasn't going to where it needed to go to help people out is what I'm getting at. So which is why people like Carly, yeah. Carly, that's it. I thought, why did I keep saying Kyrie? Carly Morgenthau keeps, like, that's why her movement starts to take off, is because people are fed up with that the governments aren't helping them. And it starts to become about classicism, right? Like it starts to become like, no, you're not helping the people of your, I guess the lower income people of your governments or I guess countries.
This all just sounds familiar.
Well, no, it's obviously very topical, right? They pull it out of nowhere. Like it's important for a reason, right? It's like this touched a nerve for a reason. But this is also why the Flag Smashers the Flag Smasher movement starts to gain prominence, is because they are now like the freedom fighters for the for the voice. They are the voice for the voiceless.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is that Carly doesn't go about it the way she probably should. And there was like even one of the episodes, Sam, who finally gets some like, one-on-one time with Carly to talk it over. He's like, listen, I agree with you. Yeah, he's like, you're right. I agree with you. I just don't agree with the means in which you're trying to attain your victory. Because at that point, she had murdered people.
Right.
Right?
She blew up that building. Yeah.
Right. So let's put a pin in this for a second. And I want to kind of go back to what Josh was talking about with John Walker. And I thought this was another weird flex, is at the end of episode 1, the U.S. government hypes up the return of Captain America. This is your new Captain America. And then this dude just walks out with the shield, the actual Captain America shield that the American government swindled Sam Wilson out of, right? What's up, Josh?
So I got something to say about John Walker.
Okay.
One of the big takeaways I have with him is that he is a returned soldier that has some severe repressed PTSD.
Of course, I'm totally getting that.
But I'm just saying that like this show is so full of a lot of our current social commentary, like a lot of it.
Yes.
So I just wanted to throw that in there. But,
no, and to kind of piggyback off you, I actually have a lot of personal beef with the current current services and armed forces, where like whenever you the general join the armed forces, you have to go to boot camp. Josh, you go in, they deprogram you, and then they reprogram you for what they need you to do.
I wouldn't put it that way. I definitely won't put it that way.
But when you go to boot camp, they make you into what the Army or the Navy or the military need you to be, right? They build you up to be a certain way.
Well, they break the individual and then build a team. That's the whole purpose of it.
Right. But they do that.
Okay, right.
Right.
So my point being, though, is that whenever you are discharged, whether it be honorably or dishonorably, or maybe your time in the military just expires, right? Mm-hmm. And all of these servicemen or these soldiers now have to become civilians. There's not a lot of deprogramming, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where a lot of I think this PTSD comes from, or that's where a lot of soldiers get PTSD, because it's like you now have to rejoin society as a civilian.
So, side note, there are those programs totally available. Totally. Okay. Now.
Wait, can I just point out that?
Yeah, sorry, Jake.
Like you're no, I'm just going off what you're both saying. Like you're both right, and this actually ties into the MCU, because everything you're both saying is literally Sam's arc in Civil War. He was that guy bringing people back,
Definitely, but I just want to say that the U.S. military does have programs for people leaving the service. Now, whether those people's commands say, hey, there's these classes that you really should take, and whether that person knows about it, doesn't know about it, knows about it, doesn't take it, all that's a different story. Mm-hmm. They're there. I don't know how much they're used. I didn't use it when I left, but I was in a position in the military where I came out with real world skills. Being a soldier, let's be honest, you don't come out with a real world skill. But that's what the GI Bill's for. That's what these programs are for, and the military does a really, really shitty job of helping the ones they fucking need to help. Anyways, that's my. But the programs are there.
All right, maybe I had judged it a little unfair, but my point being, as all of this reverts back to John Walker, is that everybody, it is well known in the MCU, or in the context of the MCU at this point, that Steve Rogers, who was Captain America, was a super soldier. He was part of the super soldier program. He had the super soldier serum. Bucky was also part of that same program. So Bucky is also a super soldier. And unbeknownst to the American public, but the American government knows that there are more super soldiers out in the world, which we'll get to here shortly.
Right.
My point being is that in an effort of propaganda to get America back on the side, to I guess get American patriotism or whatever, or just love of America back up, they introduce John Walker as the new Captain America. And he is given the shield that Steve Rogers gave Sam, that Sam gave to the Smithsonian because he thought that shield would have a legacy in a museum exhibit. But no, the American government went under Sam's nose, took the shield and gave it to John Walker, which is a weird flex because John Walker is just a dude. Now, granted, he was in the military and he was a heavily decorated, military officer or whatever his position was in the military. He's still not a super soldier. And I think that it's really weird. And this is also kind of what Captain America or what Steve Rogers was fighting against in Civil War. Because remember at the beginning of Civil War, whenever what's his William Hurt's character, the general
Thunderbolt Ross.
General Ross brought the
Red Hulk.
Sokovia Accords, dropped him and said, you can, if you sign this, you work for the American government. And then Steve Rogers had an issue with that, saying, well, if I work for the American government, then I'm not left to make up my mind as who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. I'm going to be the person that the America tells me to go and destroy or kill. And America now says who the good guys and the bad guys are. And this is kind of what they're doing with John Walker. John Walker is now a Captain America that works solely for the American government, right? He's not resting on his morals. He's taking orders because that's what John Walker has always done, is taken orders. So right. I think it's really interesting that you see a non-super soldier with this shield. And I mean, the shield represents so much within the story, right? Which we'll move on shortly. But I just thought it was a really weird move for the American government, knowing what they know about super soldiers and giving it to somebody who is just a guy.
Real quick, while we're on the topic, I'm kind of feeling like let's finish going through John Walker's arc, because like so much ties to that and the parallels to the other characters that we're about to talk about. So like everything Jordan was just saying. Oh, did Jordan freeze? Did I freeze?
No.
I'm good.
Okay.
Everybody's still here on my end.
All right, good.
Maybe
anyway,
I'm frozen.
No, you're fine. So
no, it's really cold in here.
Piggy.
I'm frozen too.
Anyway, so John Walker gets the shield, and like he believes he's Captain America, which is kind of weird because everything Jordan just said, I mean, you touched on it, but it kind of goes against everything that the Captain America character was, like Steve Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
Like this guy's just out there following orders. He has his teammate sidekick, which, as the story progresses, is kind of his voice of reason, come to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Because there comes a point, I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but there comes a point where that voice of reason is literally killed. And that's when John Walker...
Yeah, what, Lamar or Battlestar?
Lamar Hoskins.
Yeah. So something to add about John Walker is what you see is that, like, he's kind of in it, and he's essentially in it for himself, right? He can't look bad because he's Captain America. And I understand that he has the weight of the title of Captain America resting on his shoulders. So he does like some pretty drastic stuff in order to not look bad. However, there's the one episode after Lamar gets killed where he chases down one of the Flag Smashers, and Homeboy just beats the dude dead with his shield. And the final shot of the episode is looking up at Captain America with the blood all over the American shield. And if that was not strong allegory to to America, I don't know what is, man. Like
that scene made me say "Holy shit" out loud.
Man, that scene was fairly close to Wilson Fisk freaking beating the dude's head off in the door.
Yeah,
A little less gory, but same concept.
But think about the analogy of like America and its blood on its hands, like that allegory with that one scene.
Yeah, that's been the last 100 years or more.
So
500. Anyway, and along with that same scene, again tying into the parallels with between John Walker and Steve Rogers. So the guy that John Walker kills with the shield, he's not the guy that killed Hoskins. He was just there.
Yeah.
And John Walker sees that opportunity, but the move, shield over the head, smashing into his neck or chest or whatever, it never actually shows it. The exact same thing that Steve did to Tony in Civil War, right? Took out shield over the head, took out the arc reactor on the Iron Man suit.
Mm-hmm.
But Steve stopped. He just disarmed Tony, and that was enough. Stopped, walked away. Where John Walker obviously did not stop in pretty much a very similar situation. And just the comparison between the two quote unquote Captain Americas in that same kind of situation was pretty jarring.
Mm-hmm.
And like you guys were saying, like, that one scene was so powerful because it made real world allegories and like callbacks in the MCU, and it was just like, holy crap, there was so much in that last minute and a half of that episode.
And at that point, he had taken the super soldier serum,
right?
Yeah. So like, he didn't just beat the dude with the shield. He beat the motherfucker with the shield.
I mean, there's a chance that guy was cut in half.
Yeah. He super soldier beat the dude to death with a shield.
Right.
So let's temporarily put a pin in this, because everything what we're going to talk about is all going to culminate once we get to like ideas or themes of the last episode.
Exactly. Yes.
But I do want to talk about two more people before we move on, and that's the state of Bucky. And when we meet Bucky for the first episode, he's seeing a therapist as part of, I guess, his
pardon.
Yeah, his pardon, and he's trying to work through a lot of that past stress, the PTSD, like, right? He's attempting to make amends, but he's kind of he's not doing it the way he should.
Right. And that's a different type of PTSD, which is like really cool that they're not just like throwing all PTSD into one group.
Right.
It's it
affects people differently,
things.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't have any PTSD, so, but I don't know. Would it be a safe assumption to say that it's all based on that person's past experience? Like, obviously, if I have PTSD, it would be different from if Jake had PTSD.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And,
okay.
Yeah, I'd say it's a case by case kind of thing, right, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, like mine's from being in Afghanistan. Like,
right, you had mortars thrown at you. Yeah.
And rockets, things.
Mm-hmm.
Think boomy things, big boomy things.
Yeah, I don't want to make light of that. I mean,
I do, but that's just my way of dealing with it.
Right.
But other people, I had a friend in Colorado that his PTSD was from a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I mean, it's trauma, and trauma takes many, many, many different forms.
Mm-hmm.
Attack, accidents, abuse, all, like, everything.
Yep.
Yes.
Right. Well, we see Bucky, and he's friendly with this elderly Asian gentleman close to where he lives. And you come to find out that when Bucky was the Winter Soldier, his son was one of the people he killed. And I guess, this is, in Bucky's mind, this is a way of, I guess, making amends, but he still can't fully make amends because he can't bring himself to admit to this elderly gentleman that he was the one that killed his son.
Right.
Right. And through the events of the show, they get or Sam and Bucky team up to yeah, I guess essentially take down these flag smashers. And it's from or after. But okay, hold on. Let me back up. While they team up, Bucky makes it well known that he's not happy that Sam gave up Steve's shield.
Yes.
And he doesn't realize, or Bucky realizes that Sam doesn't know the weight that carries that shield and the super soldier legacy that is carried by that shield. So in the second episode, Bucky takes Sam to meet a gentleman by the name of Isaiah Bradley, who's an African American, who's a black man. He's a black man, and he was also part of the super soldier program during World War II, which alludes to a lot of.
Wait, was he World War II or was he Korean? I thought he was Korean War.
Korea.
Was he Korean? Was he Korea? Yeah. I thought it was World War II.
Yeah,
it was Korea.
He's too young to be World War II.
They said something about it. I don't remember where.
They said it.
But even then, like, I mean, if you're a super soldier, you age so much slower.
Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
Either way, the point being is that whenever Isaiah Bradley talks about all the experimentation that was done on him, it's very reminiscent of the actual laboratory experiments that happened to African American men in World War II, like all the Tuskegee experiments, right?
Yeah.
So
is that where we developed our own strain of meth?
What?
Never mind. So
you hear Isaiah's side of the story, and he's not happy. Like, for all intents and purposes, he is dead, and he wants the world to think he's dead. But he also doesn't want to talk to Sam or Bucky. And this is like the first part of the, and I don't want to say the first part of the story, because I'm a middle-aged white guy, so maybe I just didn't pick up on these cues earlier. But that's like the first major part of the story where it starts to become about race. Like there's the theme of race,
right?
And how and how certain governments treat certain people of color, specifically America, and the legacy of the past trauma that the Black community has suffered over the last literally 500 years of this country.
Holy shit! I just looked at the Tuskegee experiment.
Yeah. Put a pin in that though. Like, well, that'll be an after podcast conversation.
Well, now I feel bad making light of it. Sorry.
So but basically, what the gist for Isaiah is that he's a super soldier, and he was used the way that the American government is attempting to use John Walker and wanted to use Captain America. But the problem is that even though he got dropped over enemy lines and saved people, he was punished for it because he's a black man, right? Because during the what's that, Jake?
Oh, I just wanted to say, just hold on to what you're saying. Just backing up just for a second. The way that he participated in the they didn't tell him it was the super soldier program. He said they thought they were getting tetanus shots.
Yeah. So he was forced. Yeah.
There was no volunteer like Steve did. So I just wanted to bring that up. Okay, carry on. So he was dropped over enemy lines.
Yeah, no, and basically, like, he did what the American government wanted him to do, but instead of praising him, he was locked up and imprisoned because, if word got out that a black man was doing this, it would be like the fate, like at the time during the Cold War, saying the phrase "Black Captain America" would have just sent would have just sent an even bigger wave of racism throughout America, right? So they hid that. The American government hid that. They hid the fact that a black man did all this, did all of the, I guess, quote unquote, good stuff.
The heroic stuff.
Yeah, the heroic stuff for the country of America.
Right, and one of Isaiah's stories was the exact same story that Steve did in World War II that he got praised for. He went across enemy lines to a POW camp and saved all his friends, his team. Isaiah did the exact same thing, and that's what got him killed. Like, Like they couldn't let it out that he was the hero, and exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like and then I think also one of the first parts that made me think that the show was going to have big themes on race was the scene this specific scene. This was actually filmed in Atlanta, in downtown Atlanta, when they were walking up to Isaiah's house, and that kid on the side of the road goes, "Hey, aren't you the Black Falcon?" And he's like, and Sam goes, "No, I'm just the Falcon." He's like, "Yeah, the Black Falcon." He's like, "What? You just think that because I'm a black man that I'm the Black Falcon? No, I'm just the Falcon."
So, what are you, black kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the kid just kind of like shrugs it off, and was like, "Eh." But that scene specifically, I found out, was filmed in downtown Atlanta, and in the foreground or the background is the birthplace of Martin Luther King Jr.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't see it at first, and I need to go back and rewatch. I still haven't rewatched it a second time, but a friend of mine was like, "No, like that shot was on purpose."
Wow.
So I was like, "Man, I can't believe I didn't recognize that street because I've been down that street hundreds of times." But yeah, I thought that was pretty clever. So, and then we revisit Isaiah Bradley a couple times throughout the series, but I think his most powerful moment is in the second to last episode, whenever Sam goes to visit him, and they're talking about the legacy of Captain America and the legacy of black men in America, and to Isaiah, it's nothing new. Like he's like, this has happened before, and it's going to happen again, right? He's a man who's literally had just his essence beaten from him, from America. Like America has beaten just his je ne sais quoi from this man just because he's a black guy. And it's awful. And then like he even says the line of like, they're not, history is not going to remember me because they've been stealing our history for 500 years.
Right, and that part hit hard, and I'm really glad they did not hold back on it, because I was just like, holy shit, they went there. I'm glad they did go there. Like, they didn't beat around the bush at all. They dove right in. Just on that line, I was like, oh man, like, I had to sit down for a second after that.
But were you watching standing up?
I was pacing. Shut up, Josh. Let me have my dramatic moment.
All right, sorry.
No, you're fine. But yeah, that scene, like that whole, was that the same scene where because like you said, Jordan, they revisited Isaiah a few times, and this is leading into putting another pin in this because we're gonna go back probably one or two more times, but where Isaiah tells Sam that no self-respecting black man would want to be Captain America.
Right. And
Because
that's kind of because of what America has done to the black community for literally ever.
Is?
Yeah. Well, no, Josh is exactly right, but that's what, and I feel like that's where this show is culminating and where this conversation is going to culminate, because it's all these threads are going to, they cross there at the end. Mm-hmm. So, and I really like that we're going through everybody's arc. So we haven't really touched on Sam's arc yet. So let's back up to Sam now.
Go for it.
And, well, Jordan, I'm going to need help because, look, stuff like this, I really enjoy, and I just have a hard time talking about it because it's, we talked about this last year, race relations. Like, this is fairly new to me. Just because of how me and Josh were raised and where we were raised, and
in the middle of BFE,
right? And so this is one of the reasons I wanted to wait to have Jordan on this show. Not to put pressure on you, Jordan. You're just much more wordy and knowledgeable about this than we are. And so, but anyway, backing up to Sam's arc, like up until that moment, I didn't feel like Sam's arc was so much about race, but I mean in the foreground because the whole legacy of the Shield, and Bucky mentions at the end of the show that him and Steve didn't know what it meant to give a black man the shield of Captain America. Mm-hmm. So like Sam's race arc, I mean, it was always there subtly in the background in the first couple episodes, and after that
Yeah, I don't know
conversation
that
with
that
Isaiah.
first one wasn't really subtle, but yeah. Anyways,
Well, yeah, but I mean, it culminated at that conversation with Isaiah, and
yeah,
Sam had to make a choice. But like backing up to like the guy with the bank and everything, and not existing for 5 years, like Sam had his own personal arc in this, and like I said, like uh, in Civil War, he was his job, like his actual job in the movie was, dealing with the soldiers and the PTSD and everything, and makes him a good person and like knowing who to talk to. And I thought that at the beginning, him and Carly had very similar stories, like being in the same position, not existing, and then the government funding what we just talked about, just funding the wrong people and not having a backup plan for these people. Like they were, and that kind of brought it up into that conversation that Sam was having with Carly when he was, a one-on-one with her, and saying he understood where she was coming from, he understood like her problems and everything, and just that they were going about it in very different ways. And I just like that through those first 4 episodes or so, they were kind of in the same position. And I really like that back and forth of the whole show. And then, I mean, that was, yeah, aside from the race arc. And so Sam gives up the shield because he wasn't comfortable with it in the beginning. I mean, he said at the end of Endgame he wasn't comfortable with it. And I forgot where I was going with this. Just up to that point with Carly, because then we're just leading into that same culmination that everything leads to. And then there's one character that we haven't even mentioned yet.
Zemo?
Zemo. Just lighten things up for a second. Zemo.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing was whenever they had broken him out of prison. They broke him out of prison. And he had a private jet waiting for him. And Sam's like, "You have a jet?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm a baron."
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's not just a title. It's just not a fancy name.
Yeah. Like in this whole series of... we'll get to the culmination of all the issues and relations and everything, but like in this whole series of all of that, like deep, heavy stuff, I wasn't really expecting Zemo to be the comic relief.
Mm-hmm.
And he was good. And it just made me happy that they didn't kill him at the end of Civil War. Like, they held on to this good villain that I really liked. Like, he was a cool dude in this.
So I felt like I missed something between where he disappeared and when he ended up back on the raft.
What'd you miss? I watched, like, the second half of this series 2 or 3 times.
Well, I need to rewatch a bunch of shit because there's a million things going on, obviously.
So, I mean,
that's why we're having this discussion. But he disappeared, and the next time I seen him, he was back on the raft.
Okay, I'll fill you in. So, his arc was also going back to Civil War. I mean, he blew up the UN building that killed T'Chaka.
You're doing this for my benefit or
everybody's benefit?
Okay.
Well, it ties into this because he was posing as Bucky in Civil War when he did that. And then Bucky's the one that breaks him out in this series. And obviously this is going to piss off the Wakandans, because then they get involved.
Oh, so they nabbed him.
Yeah. So then there's that whole... And, they knew Bucky broke him out, but...
There's something going on between Bucky and...
Io?
Huh?
Io? Ao?
Is that her name?
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like there's
it's AYO. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it.
There's a definite there's a backstory somewhere in there.
I mean, it did touch on the backstory. She helped him overcome the Winter Soldier in his mind.
Right, but I think I just got a feeling it's a little deeper than that. That's all.
Yeah, but along those lines, like the Wakandans trust Bucky because after the events of Civil War, Bucky lived in Wakanda. He was the White Wolf with them. And so he has that connection there. And so even though he's the one that broke Zemo out, they trusted his word. No one was hiding anything. They're like, hey, you broke Zemo out. That's not good. And he's like, it's a means to an end. And then they let him do his thing. And then, they had a fight scene between John Walker and the Dora Milaje.
Dora Milaje.
Yeah, Milaje. And, which was an awesome fight scene.
Which I think was the final tipping point for him.
For John
to
Walker?
take the super soldier serum. Yeah, to take the super soldier serum. Because he even said, it's like they weren't even super soldiers.
He got his ass kicked.
Yeah, that was actually a really, I really liked that line. Just him dazed saying they weren't even super soldiers.
Yeah. So after that fight scene, that's when Zemo went El Chapo and escaped under the tub in the bathroom. And then, per a prior conversation he had with Bucky, with Bucky and Sam, talking about how he bets that none of them has even visited the Sokovian Memorial, after they dropped a city on the planet.
Yeah.
And so Bucky took that as a hint. Zemo ends up at the memorial. Bucky meets him there. The Wakandans arrest him and take him to the raft. And then...
Oh, okay, so that might have been a scene where I was using the restroom or something.
Oh, yeah.
Because I actually have a restroom in my house and not just a bathroom. It's right here. There's no bath in it.
You just go in there and go, rest. Anyway, but that was you might want to go back and watch that scene because that was a really important scene just for Bucky's arc because it was kind of in that scene where he not necessarily forgives Zemo but kind of makes amends with him. Because he has he flat out has a chance to shoot him right in the face, and he acts like he does, but then drops the bullets. The gun wasn't loaded. The Wakandans take Zemo to the raft, and side note, a lot of powerful MCU villains are ending up on the raft. I just wanted to point that out, and I don't think it's a coincidence.
Who else on the raft right now?
Zemo's there. Scorpion and Vulture from Spider-Man are there.
Wait. Like, Vulture from Spider-Man, like, what was it, Beetlejuice?
Yes.
Like Beetlejuice had a little cameo in Winter Soldier?
No.
Michael Keaton.
Through...
Thanks. I was having a brain fart. I was going to say Batman, but...
just through this, the series of movies, we know who's ended up on the raft.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at one point, half the Avengers were on the raft. So, anyway, so that wraps up Zemo's story. And then, real quick, I just want to touch on Sharon's story, because hers is interesting, too, because she was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent working for the government back in the day, working for S.H.I.E.L.D. She was...
It's a Wednesday.
It was actually a Thursday. But, she... Back in Civil War, a lot of this ties back to Civil War, she, at one point, steals the shield and the Falcon suit for Steve and Sam, which pretty much makes her an outlaw to the United States government. And she's been on the run ever since. And so we catch up with her in this series. And come to find out, we touched on her being the power broker earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly she's holding a grudge about how she's been treated. And her character has turned. And
I mean, I would too.
Yeah, no.
I would probably hold a grudge too.
And that's the thing, like, I didn't disagree with her at all. I'm like, when she's talking about it, I'm just like, yeah. Okay, yeah, that completely makes sense. And so let me think. I think we're caught up to the culmination point, right? Where just the last episode and a half where everything went down. Last two episodes, I'd say.
Yeah.
So let's dive into this.
So the Flag Smashers are going to make their big push to this UN meeting in New York, right?
Right.
I don't even know if it's the UN. Whatever is, I guess, representative of this meeting of all these world leaders.
It's the, damn it, what they call it? It was
the global
repatriation
stuff.
Yeah. Basically, people were going where they needed to go to freaking find a life.
Right.
And then everybody else came back, and so the government said, well, you motherfuckers need to leave.
Right. That was the idea of the program.
Yes.
But whether or not it actually worked out that way, I mean, clearly it didn't.
I mean, that's a terrible idea, actually. I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Global Repatriation Council, the GRC.
Yeah, GRC.
GRC.
That's right.
So they're holding the vote, and sounds like not true. I mean, what's the word? I don't know. Anyway, so they're holding the vote on what to do, how to handle the situation. Let's put it that way. Which may or may not, which may not be the correct way to handle it. And so, wait, back it up a second.
And this would.
Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, I was just saying this is the what becomes the final showdown between the Flag Smashers and Sam and Bucky, and eventually John Walker, right? Because John Walker, when you see him in this episode, like the homeboy is out for revenge, but there's like that one moment where he either chooses revenge or to be a decent person, and he chooses to be a decent person for the first time that we see him on screen. But that still doesn't make John Walker not trash. He's still a trash human being. He's still his entire story arc is white privilege. Like his entire story arc is literally the embodiment of white American privilege.
No, I completely agree. And speaking of that, the one part he had one line. So remember, he was in the trial where they were, scolding him for the bad decision he made of cutting a man in half with a shield.
Right.
And a bunch of people caught it on film. Now, on this part, I agreed with him. I didn't feel for him, but I agreed with him. Understood where he was coming from. Where he told the senator, "You made me."
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, yeah, they did. And now, he's right.
And they don't want to live with the consequences of it.
Exactly. But
because he was caught. If he wasn't caught, America wouldn't even have to deal with it. They wouldn't even be an issue.
Which loops back to the
John Walker even says in that council meeting or that hearing, he's like, "I did what you told me to do."
Right.
And then whenever they're
but it's all fun and games until it's caught on film.
Of course. And they said whenever they were dealing out his sentencing, which is like, listen, just because you've done a great deal of good for this country or a great deal of good for the American military or whatever, he's like, you're not going to go to jail, but you're going to be stripped of all your titles and you're going to be dishonorably discharged. And in the middle of that, he just turns and walks away, and he just walks out.
So, but back to the privilege thing, you're absolutely right, because he did turn and walk away. He walked out, he got caught on film killing a man, and then, when all this is going on, you think of Isaiah's story and what he did, which was actually heroic, and then the consequences he got from that.
Huh.
And
wow,
100%.
That sounds familiar.
Right. Well, we don't have to beat around that bush
so
either.
Weird.
So, no, 100% white privilege embodied in one character. So, again, yeah, I could understand his story arc, and his redemption was small and not quite enough. So, and by not quite enough, I mean not enough at all.
I'm not supposed to like John Walker. I'm not supposed to enjoy John Walker's character, right? I think Wyatt Russell did a great job playing him because John Walker.
He's a great character. I don't like him.
Here's
because he's a great character.
My concern for John Walker. Who is he fucking working for now?
Wait, we'll get to that at the end, because I want to talk about that too.
Okay.
I don't know anything about U.S. Agent. So anyway, so there's this big. So then now we're to the big showdown where Sam has accepted his role that he is Captain America, and he has a sweet suit to prove it.
Yeah, it's right next to you.
Oh man! So when they gave him the backpack, Vanessa got all excited. And I just assumed they gave him his repaired wings back.
Yeah,
But,
I like
no,
that. I like that.
She totally fucking. She's like, why aren't you happy? She's like, it's his new costume. Like, it's just his wings.
No, it's a
I
whole new suit.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
I know now.
So, quick side note on the suit. First of all, I love that the new Captain America suit is Wakandan,
Mm-hmm.
and I like how he used I thought just really creative on the show's part. How he uses the suit with the shield,
Mm-hmm.
like to give him the super soldier strength, like when he launches the jetpack to throw the shield,
Yeah.
and like Sam's just a normal dude. He doesn't need the super soldier serum.
And
He is a super soldier.
And he said, when he was asked if he would take the serum, he said, "Hell no."
Mm-hmm.
No hesitation.
Yep.
And so one part where I really, along the lines of what I'm saying, how the suit is kind of him and his power, his super soldier power. During this big showdown, when he's fighting Carly, and she is a super soldier,
Go ahead.
and she goes to hit him, and he holds his shield up, and by doing that and throwing his wings into the ground behind him, that gives him the strength to go up against her. And I thought that was really awesome.
And
Like-
I think what makes Sam a super soldier, in the sense of the word super, is like his moral compass too, right?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Well,
right.
That's what the whole Captain America being a super soldier came from. His moral compass. They like shared the same. Well, morals.
Yeah.
How
Well,
about
it's
that?
like Peggy Carter said, Steve was a good man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam's a good man too. I'm gonna kick your dog off the podcast.
You can hear her growling at me because I'm petting her.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh, what was I just Anyway, Jordan was saying what makes Sam a super soldier.
oh no, just again his moral compass. Like it's more than just the brute strength, right? John Walker wanted the brute strength. Like he wanted to be where Sam's like, no, I don't want the strength. I want like I want the moral compass of what I want to be the heart of what Captain America is supposed to be, not the strength of what Captain America is supposed to be.
Right.
But no, so we finally get the final showdown, right? And unfortunately, I say unfortunately, I don't know why I said that, but through the weird twist of events, as Bucky and Sam are trying to put down all of the ancillary flag smashers, it's revealed that Sharon Carter is the power broker, and she and Carly have a back and forth, and it's Sharon Carter that kills Carly.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and it almost seems like it's very anticlimactic. It's like, oh, okay, well then, but she killed Carly to save her own secret.
Right.
And then once Carly's body is brought up, all of the GRC, the heads of the GRC are all with the security, and they were rescued, right? Because they were all filed into that armored truck. So they were all rescued, but they're also being tended to by all of the I guess the EMTs, and are guarded by the security and etc. And then there's this whole big conversation that's started by the leaders of the GRC going, well, we can have our men move on as planned at the drop of a hat. Just say the word. And Sam was like, no, don't you understand? Like, what you're doing is actually hurting people and not helping people. What the hell was that?
Ocean.
Okay.
All right. And like his whole speech is just about how all of these governments that these people are in charge of are just failing, or 100% failing all of the people of those countries. And the world is going to be worse off for it if they don't realize that they can take this money and reinvest in those countries and those people. And then once you lift those people up, then the rest of the country gets lifted up too, right? It's not invest in a few. It's help everyone.
Right. And it was a lot of perspective differences in that. I thought that whole conversation was fantastic because the senator guy called the Flag Smashers terrorists, and Sam said, "Yo, you gotta stop calling them terrorists." And then he points out that this GRC is going into these other countries, and armed guards to move people. And what do you think that they're calling the GRC? They're armed soldiers rounding people up. To those people, they're the terrorists.
Right. It's kind of like that scene in Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan and Anakin are they're about to show down, and then Anakin's like, "Well, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil."
Yeah,
right? It's kind of like that. Well, it depends on who's being wronged. You're gonna have a different point of view.
Exactly. And of course, someone's gonna think they're right, and in this case, it's the people with the money and the guns.
Right, and if the GRC continued on doing what they did, they were only going to make Carly a bigger martyr for the movement, which is at this point worldwide.
Right, and towards the end there, that became Carly's plan. Like, she knew that if she died, like she said that if she dies, the movement will continue.
Right, and
it's bigger than her now.
Sam even said something like, "If you continue on with what you're doing, you're just going to make more Carlys. You're just going to make the next Carly's going to pop up, and then when you take care of that Carly, the next Carly's going to pop up. So, like, it's a slippery slope.
And that's making a martyr.
Right.
Exactly. And martyr after martyr.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
which is actually what we've been dealing with in the Middle East for the last 20 fucking years.
Like, there was real world parallels. 40, 50, 70. But
okay. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. More than that, because
point being, the social commentary of the scene, it was just, a government should help its people, not only a certain group of people within those governments.
Right. And then in that same scene, in that same conversation, Sam brought up the point of him being a black Captain America, and how people aren't going to like that. And even right now, he can feel the stares and feel the hatred. And I was like that scene was intense in the best way.
But, yeah.
And so, and at that point, all the news cameras are on him. And as he's saying this, Isaiah's watching it live on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe for the first time in forever, actually feeling pride for Captain America. Maybe the only time. And, yeah. Oh, along these same lines, there was one line that I want to jump backwards real fast because it completely goes hand in hand with this scene. When Carly and Sam were fighting, I watched this twice. I don't know why, but it hit me really hard each time. I almost cried. I'll say it. I almost cried. Where Carly knocks Sam down, he gets up, and she yells at him to stay down, and all he says is no. And I just thought that was a really powerful scene, and it just ties right back into, like, look, Sam is Captain America, and just how much that represents, and how he didn't stay down.
Kind of like that I can do this all day type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it tied into that, and just, it was one word, and it was amazing. And so, that's not the only fantastic solo speech that Sam gets in this episode. And I'm going to pass this one on to Jordan, because then Sam goes and visits Isaiah.
Yeah, so after Sam goes and visits Isaiah and says, get ready, I have somewhere to take you. And, flash forward, he takes Isaiah to the Smithsonian, where there's an exhibit on super soldiers. And he shows Isaiah that there is now an exhibit in the Smithsonian that accurately tells the story of Isaiah Bradley within the context of this super soldier exhibit. And Isaiah Bradley is finally justified for all the shit that he was put through. And you see, there's a statue of him. There's his story on the museum context panels. And it brings him to tears, because finally he gets his story told the way it should be told.
Mm-hmm.
And it's vindication is the word I'm looking for. Not justification, but vindication is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So, and that's something that hit hard for me. I don't know, like, if listener, if you are listening this far in, I've said many times before that I have a background in history, but I also specifically used to work in museum education, and I specifically taught about American enslavement. So a lot of this stuff really, really hit hard. And I know the weight of all of these themes in this show. Like, I know somebody who doesn't know the history of enslavement and the history of segregation and Jim Crow, etc. It might not get the same context or might not get the same out of this show, but I felt the vindication of Isaiah Bradley at the end of this episode.
Yeah. Josh?
I feel
So
like
polite.
the people that don't know the history of American enslavement, Jim Crow laws, and all that stuff, I feel like those are the ones that got mad at the last episode. I'm just throwing that out there.
I mean,
I
they could
I
have.
feel like people probably do know the history, but I don't think they know. Like, they know what they were taught, and what they were taught probably isn't.
Right.
What we were taught in school is very, for you know what? Not lack of a better term. There's not a better term than this. Whitewashed.
Well, no, you're exactly right.
No,
but,
I mean that's the perfect phrase for that.
and which is exactly what Isaiah Bradley in this show said when he said they've been erasing our history for 500 years.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. But what you said about the people getting mad learning about it, like, I think it just depends on the person, because the person could either take it and look more into it. Like, last year, I learned about the Tulsa, Oklahoma bombings from Watchmen. That's the first I've ever heard of it. Because
Wait, Tulsa
history was-
bombings?
Black
So-
Wall Street.
yeah,
It's called Black Wall Street. Look it up.
yeah. I mean, if you didn't watch the Watchmen TV show, you're not gonna know, because of exactly what you just said. Our history was taught
That's
to us
on
in a very
HBO Plus, right?
yeah. But that's how I learned about it, and so I felt.
Is it safe to watch on my flights here in the near future?
I mean,
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
I think so.
Like, is Blue Guy gonna be freaking hanging out with his dick out again?
I mean, sometimes, yeah. It shows him in flat, so yeah, maybe don't watch it on a flight.
Okay.
It's brief. I'm only halfway through
he's
the
not
show.
wearing briefs at all.
That's true. Like, I'm only halfway through the show, and I really need to finish it. But it does show him in flashbacks, because the show takes place a ways after the comic story.
Right.
Because it's a sequel to the comics, not a sequel to the movie, which is exactly the same. It might as well have been. Anyway, but so what you were saying though, like, I kind of feel like this series kind of had that same tone as that first episode of Watchmen, where it did expose this to a very broad audience. And you know how each person's gonna react to that is dependent on that person, and I'm hoping that they'll research it and look into it. Like, this fictional comic book series just laid down a lot of truth, right?
Mm-hmm. And something, the big argument after this, like, because of all the shitty white people and racists were mad about a black Captain America, the big counter argument to a lot of this is, keep your politics out of my comic books, as if to say, or they think that politics in everyday life was never present in their comic books prior to this. I can trace back all the history. I did a summer camp with my kids at the History Center, and I did a history of comic books camp where I showed them how topical comic books have always, from the first superhero of Superman all the way to today, all the way to Civil War through 9/11 with the Patriot Act. Like Superman and Captain America are products of Nazi Germany and America entering the war. And the X-Men are an allegory for the civil rights movement of the early 1960s. Well, specifically the 1960s, but the civil rights movement had been going on for decades prior to that.
Right, and then they became an allegory for the LGBT.
Yeah, now,
yeah,
right.
Well.
But it's the same idea, though, right? Like, it's
Exactly, yeah.
totally the same idea.
And in the comic books, the X-Men were othered for being different. And whenever the X-Men were created in '63, Dr. Martin Luther King was making his "I Have a Dream" speech, right? So like the African American community was being othered by the white supremacists of the time. And today, with the LGBTIA plus community, like they're being othered. But right, it's civil rights, but it's the same idea, but with a different community of people.
Correct.
And if these people are like, if they want to say keep the politics out of the comics, like all these stories in this series, like Sam becoming Captain America, the story of Isaiah Bradley, these are all literally just pulled right from the comics. They were already there. They're in the comics.
But Jake, these are the same people that got pissed in the last 6 months that when they found out that Rage Against the Machine was a liberal band.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Like, I bet half the people that were saying this are big fans of X-Men.
Yeah,
It's just that's.
I mean, Jesus. I mean, Marvel's been a trailblazer for 30, 40 years now.
60 or 70. I mean,
Okay.
It goes all the way back to the original Captain America.
Yeah, no, totally.
It was actually Captain America's first appearance was pre-Marvel.
Yeah, it was
Timeless Comics.
Yeah, that's the one. I was gonna say Action Comics, but that was Superman. But yeah, and on top of all this, I love how whoever made the show definitely knew that this was going to make people mad. And circling back to that speech Sam was having with the senator, saying that he can already feel the stares and the hatred of having a black Captain America. Like, they came out preemptive right in the show. It was perfect. It was beautiful. So I also watched it. So I watched it by myself, and then I also watched it with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And this resonated so hard with them, but in a completely different way. My kids, they're 10 and 6. They know nothing about race relations. But they friggin' love the new Captain America. And this action figure I'm holding, this isn't mine. It's for Gavin. Like,
nice.
We finished the last episode. He's like, Dad, will you buy me a Captain America toy? Like, the Sam Captain America? I was like, heck yeah, I will. And so, I mean, he gets this tomorrow because it came in the mail today. And
nice.
Like, Sam as Captain America is his new favorite. And I just love that, like, the younger generations, it touched them in a whole different way. Because, like I said, they're young. They don't know about race relations yet. And I like to think I've raised them in a way where, they don't have to. I mean...
So I think...
Hold on. How am I trying to put this? Raise them in a way where, like, they're not going to have a racist bone in their body. Does that make sense? Because racism is learned. Backing up to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I loved how at the end of the episode, the title changed to Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Not to be confused with Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Yeah, so I like how it ended there. Wrapping up 2 quick other story arcs outside of the... just Bucky's PTSD story arc where he finally came clean to his, his old man friend, which that was rough. Can you imagine?
It was
that?
closure for both of them.
Yeah, which
and it sucked for both of them.
Oh, absolutely. But then when he walks by the bar later on, and he sees his friend in there, having a good time, having shots with the girl he went on a date with earlier.
The cute girl.
Yeah.
They joked about being over 100 years old, and she laughed and didn't realize that he was actually over 100 years old.
Yeah, completely serious. And then John Walker becoming U.S. agent. I know nothing about U.S. Agent. Is he a good guy?
Yeah,
Or is he like an anti-hero?
he's kind of like an anti-hero.
Okay.
He's kind of like he's essentially what they set him up to be. Like you're not Captain America, you're something else. So just be the something else.
All right, but he was super excited about it. He's like, I'm back.
Yeah, but he still did a lot of shitty things.
Yeah.
He still lied to Lamar's family about his death.
Oh, right.
He still
Yeah.
he still killed a dude in cold blood with the Captain America shield. Like he's still a piece of shit.
Yeah,
He's still
like I said,
privileged the character.
Great character. Don't like him.
And I'm, Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, I'm very uncertain about, and I'm pretty sure she's a really bad guy.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, like another character.
I know nothing about her character.
Yeah, no,
Me
same.
neither. She just seemed bad. I mean, she's got the whole purple hair.
Yeah, it's total sign of a baddie. Just
especially
like
in Marvel, because we got
just like Agatha.
Yeah, well, not only that, but what's his name in damn the female private detective superhero chick on Netflix?
Oh, Jessica Jones.
Yeah, her. Doctor Who on that show.
Yeah. Well, and Zemo.
Yeah, and Zemo too. Yeah, forgot about that.
Holy shit!
It was the same show. I mean, the same show as we were talking about all day.
Oh, and Thanos. Thanos is purple.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Wait, have I never noticed it? Is this really a thing?
Yeah, all the Marvel bad guys have purple, like Magneto.
Was it Ronan purple?
Who?
Yeah,
Ronan?
Ronan was purple in the comic books.
Or was he blue?
In the movie, he was black and blue. In the comic books, I want to say he was black and purple.
Oh, all right.
Green Goblin in the comics?
No, I mean Green's just a typical.
No, Green Goblin. He's got the purple hat and the purple.
Oh
shirt.
yeah. See,
Like I wasn't.
Glider was purple.
Yeah.
So yeah, Elena has purple hair. So there you go. So final thoughts on the show. It is fantastic, and I'm very excited for Captain America 4.
I think it's genius how they wove in all of the real world themes into a superhero universe.
Well, and along those lines, like they did a fantastic job at that. And then in WandaVision, I love how they, really dove into like grief and pain, like with and how to handle that. So now I'm sitting here going, what the hell is Loki going to be about?
So here's the thing.
I think it's going to be about accountability.
That would be great.
So, but today is May 3rd. Tomorrow, here in an hour, Bad Batch drops.
Yep.
And then a month after Bad Batch, we get Loki.
Oh yeah. I was like, no, it comes out in June. Right, that's a month after Bad Batch.
Yeah.
And then in July we get Black Widow, allegedly. Hopefully for real this time.
Right.
So anyway, hey,
I'll be honest. If it's offered on the Disney Plus,
it will be
Plus
the premiere access.
That's the one. I'm just dropping the money for that.
With Raya and The Last Dragon, I saw it in the theater and then bought it on premiere access because I was like, this is great. It deserves my money.
I think. Do you get a digital copy of that as well when you pay for it, or is it just access to it until it gets on Disney Plus?
It's yours forever. If it ever leaves Disney Plus, then they decide. Oh, okay. Amazon pulled a shitty on me once, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you get it for as long as they feel like you deserve it.
Okay.
So
I might actually venture back. I might actually venture back into the theater for Black Widow because I haven't seen a movie in the theater since Rise of Skywalker.
Holy shit. I haven't seen a movie in the theater since Godzilla vs. Kong. It was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, anyway, hey, that's our show. We are the Mickey Mutineers, and you've been listening to us. And
for 2 hours.
You've been listening to three white dudes talk about a show about race.
But we have a guy that knows about it.
Even then, I'm still a white dude.
Yeah. And so thanks for listening to us. And I feel like it was a pretty serious episode, so I don't really have a witty sign-off.